Hey everybody, it's Dr. Ron. Thank you for watching this replay, if you're watching this on replay. But you're more than welcome to join me live to interact with me at any time by just turning on the notifications for my live videos. What we're going to talk about today are some diets that are out there that are really heavily talked about, and it's really been embraced by a lot of celebrity societies and whatnot. So if we've never met before, my name is Dr. Cheng Ruan. I'm a board-certified internal medicine physician. And I really enjoy talking about using food as medicine, and I really enjoy talking to my patients. So, one of the things that I've always been intrigued about is how there are all these different diets that's on the market, right? You got the paleo diet, you got the vegan diet, you got the ketogenic diet, and the short answer is it's really what is right for your body, and sometimes it's really hard to tell. I did a lot of research for this particular talk, and there's a lot of conflicting research out there, and a lot of the research out there are relatively biased too, depending on who either funded the research or did the research. So let's talk about what each one is and whether it may be for you if you want to lose fat. So we're talking about fat loss. So if your goal is to lose fat, retain lean muscle, which one is right for you? And the answer is far more complicated than just choosing A, B, and C. So let's just dive right into this. And so let's talk about what each one is. Let's start with the ketogenic diet. Okay, ketogenic diet. So what is a ketogenic diet? Ketogenic means technically means producing ketones, and what that means is when you eat food and you have a relatively low amount of carbohydrates, your body starts breaking down the proteins and the fats, and a lot of the proteins, especially the branched chain amino acids that make up a lot of the proteins, get turned into the sugar or the energy that our body and brain uses, right? And so one of the byproducts of breaking that stuff down are ketones. And ketones are basically chemicals in our body. They're not great for us, okay? So why do we want to have a ketogenic diet? Ketones aren't necessarily great for us. Well, the good news is if you have normal kidneys, the ketones get excreted into your urine, and you just kind of pee it out, okay? But the idea behind the ketogenic diet is basically ultra low carb, and ultra low carb means less than 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. So what are carbs? Carbs are like the bread, rice, pasta, sugar, even fruits are considered low carb. So a ketogenic diet is ultra low carb. You have high fat and high protein. Okay, and so let's talk about the benefits and let's talk about the not so great benefits of it. So the benefits of it is that if you're ultra low carb, that means you tend to avoid a lot of grain. You tend to avoid rice and pastas and bread and stuff like that. What happens is that your insulin level is never really that high. And insulin level really determines how insulin resistant your body is, and which determines whether or not you retain fat. So insulin is a hormone that will make you go into the fat retention mode in your body, and also makes you diabetic and pre-diabetic. All right. And so if you don't have a lot of carbs, then in theory you're eating a lot of proteins and fats, and that will always keep your insulin level low, so you start burning more energy in terms of fat, right? Well, I mean that sounds all well and good, except there are some consequences of this. So a lot of people who are on the ketogenic diet, they make food choices. A lot of food choices is based on the fact that, hey, this is protein, I'm gonna eat it. This is carbs, I'm gonna eat it. But the quality of the protein, the quality of fats that are ingested are just as important. And a lot of people tend to sort of neglect that, okay? And so, yeah, a ketogenic diet can be good to get the insulin level down. It can be good for fat loss, but fat loss and living long term depends on a lot more than just a ketogenic diet. And so that's really the foundation behind the ketogenic diet. Okay, it's very low amount of carbohydrates. But there is another concern about the ketogenic diet that I have is a lot of people who are on the ketogenic diet, they don't do it right because they avoid a lot of good carbohydrates. And then, so what are some good carbohydrates? They avoid a lot of beans that have a lot of fiber in them. Fiber is a carbohydrate, by the way, and you want to consume the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, in the right in the right context, is really good for you. Okay, so fiber is the carbohydrates, right? So high fiber diet, definitely good for you. And but a lot of people who are on the ketogenic diet have a fiber deficiency, and that's true for a lot of my patients who come in and give me their food logs. And it's like, you don't eat enough fiber, and if you don't eat enough fiber, it's really hard to lose more fat than you really want to. Another problem with the people who are on ketogenic diet is that they're nutrient deficient. What does that mean? They don't get a lot of the phytonutrients. So phytonutrients are plant nutrients, because they don't eat a whole lot of plant-based food unless they do the ketogenic diet the right way, but most of them don't. They don't get a whole lot of plant nutrients, and therefore they have a lot of nutrient and mineral deficiencies. They don't get a lot of antioxidants into their diet. It's probably not the greatest. So in the pure term ketogenic, there may be some issues with this. Okay, so let's segue that into paleo. Paleo and ketogenic for a lot of people are so similar because it's also a low carb sort of diet, right? Paleo takes out basically grains, but it also takes out legumes, and legumes are basically plant-based things that like peanuts. Right? Peanuts are in a pod. They're like pod-based things. Peas and peanuts. These are legumes. So paleo is really big in the CrossFit industry, right? CrossFit and paleo kind of go hand in hand. But you know, the studies on paleo, they do show some good studies in terms of diabetes reversal, in terms of fat loss. But once again, it's not really the full picture. The paleo diet goes back into, you know, how we eat, how our cavemen eat. We don't eat anything processed. There's no processed sugars, no preservatives. Everything is sort of nice and lean. But once again, with paleo and leaving out legumes, it may be an issue for some people. I don't have a problem with legumes, and the idea behind leaving out legumes is that legumes have different properties about them that may be hard for the body to digest, and causes inflammation. That may be true, but it's not true for everybody. And so if you want to stick to strictly paleo, it may be difficult for some people because of what they're already used to eating. And at the same time, you know, when I talk about a diet, if you're not going to be eating a diet for the rest of your life, I don't think you necessarily need to eat a diet temporarily. Okay, now let's transition to the vegan diet. So vegan diet is beyond vegetarian, but basically no animal products whatsoever. So. And the idea behind getting rid of animal products is some people, you know, react to animal protein and they develop cholesterol plaques in their arteries, and they develop a lot of inflammation in their entire body due to not just animal proteins, but animal fats and a lot of animal products. The problem with the vegan diet is that a lot of people replace what they would eat, like meat and stuff like that, with other not so great sources of carbohydrates, a lot of wheat-based carbohydrates. And what happens in the vegan diet is that a lot of people tend to eat a much higher level of carbohydrates, which is not necessarily good for fat loss and not necessarily good for prediabetes or diabetes. The problem behind that is that once you have a carb load that's here, your body secretes all this insulin. You can become more insulin resistant, meaning that you're more likely to store fat, and you're more likely to develop diabetes and prediabetes if you replace what you would eat, like the animal products, with other bad sources of carbohydrates. And so there's good and bad points about each of the diets. Okay, what's really for you? And here are the keys of what's really for you if you want to lose fat. Okay, what's for you is that first you have to understand that when you eat a certain way, it goes beyond more than the D word. The D word being diet. If you want to eat a certain way, understand that you want to eat a certain way because you want to lose fat and you want to eat a certain way for a long period of time. Okay. Meaning the rest of your life. I don't think that you should necessarily do things that are temporary because that goes against human instinct and behavior for permanent fat loss. If you want permanent fat loss, have a permanent change in your diet. So here are the keys. Here are the keys. So what I like about all of them, all of these diets, is that people pay attention to what they eat. And just by paying attention to what they, people paying attention to what they eat, they're more cognizant of what they eat, and it becomes less habitual. And because of that, people eat on purpose. So I really enjoy that aspect of these diets. Okay, but I think the main points about all these is that you don't want to eat things that have a lot of preservatives. You don't want to eat things that have a lot of artificial hormones. You don't want to eat things that have a lot of toxins in it. And as for me, the way that I eat for my fat loss is that I want to have a combination of all these things. I want to have my plant proteins. I'm okay with eating legumes, okay? And I do eat relatively low carb, but I consume fruits and vegetables in the forms of carbohydrates. So I eat high fiber fruits and vegetables with no preservatives, and I eat a lot of plant-based foods as well. So I do a combination of all these things, but I think for me, it's also what I enjoy eating, right? A lot of people enjoy eating one thing more than the other, but understand that if they enjoy eating one thing too much, it may not be good for them. So understanding what each type of food does to you is the most important part. So I recently had a friend ask me, so how do I go on a ketogenic diet? I think everybody has a different idea of what ketogenic versus paleo really. I think I cut out for a second. Anyway, I'm back now. The idea behind it is you don't necessarily have to adapt to one way or another. Just understand that you need to incorporate this type of eating into your lifestyle, and know that whatever you're eating is going to do one thing or something else to your body. If you know that wheat is bad for you, if you know that fried foods, if you know that preservatives are bad for you, then don't purchase those foods. It's all about availability, right? Every person and every body is different. There's not one diet for everyone. There really isn't. Okay, but if you choose to go ketogenic, if you choose to go vegan, if you choose to go paleo, understand that the main concept behind all this is that you don't want a lot of environmental toxins. You don't want a lot of preservatives in there. And if you're trying to go for fat loss, you want to keep the carbohydrates down, but you don't have to keep it suppressed so much that you're not consuming enough fiber. And that's the underlying way that I believe that people should eat. Enjoy the food. If you don't enjoy eating foods, then don't eat that particular food. Look for something else that's going to be good for you. And as I always say in pretty much every video, eat the colors of the rainbow. I'm not talking about Skittles and M&Ms. What I'm talking about is things that naturally are in different colors. You have your eggplant that's purple or green. You have your bell peppers that's in all array of colors, right? You have your zucchini, you have your cucumber, you have yellow squash, you have beets, you have all these different things. Eat the colors of the rainbow. But understanding that, also listen to your body. If you are eating something and your body, it doesn't agree with your body, if you feel sick, if you feel bloated because of it, you feel lethargic, if you feel just tired and worn out, if you feel that way about a particular food or it gives you a lot of diarrhea or constipation, then avoid that certain food. And I'll give you an example. Okay, beets do horrible things for my body. I break out in rashes, and I have a pretty bad allergic reaction to them, so I'm not going to eat that. So, anyways, I gotta go right now. But thanks for talking to you guys. I'm going to answer your questions later on in the comments. So I will talk to you later.